So I just gave a presentation today to the US government and I put together a bunch of slides. And today I'm going to share with you how it is that I got my stuff together. How did I put the slides together, which apps I used, and how I really just went through the whole thought process from beginning to end in order to be able to deliver the presentation the way I did. I got a lot of compliments. I don't know if they liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought I did a pretty good job. But today we spoke about task delegation tips and best practices. And this isn't something necessarily that I speak about all the time. However, I do have a bunch of different ideas we can use. And something that I love speaking about is personal development. So whenever I give a speech, I always try to put in personal development into the process, just because I know, first of all, it's always attached to it, because personal development, I believe, is one of those fundamental principles that we all need to be working on. And it's so foundational to our growth, but just making sure that we could put things into there. So throughout the actual presentation, I went through, these are my slides over here. I'll just go through them while I'm talking. And really pretty much what I did is I was able to just formulate my ideas, which I'll show you in a second about how I did that. And then I was able to just use a little bit of AI to help me out, just really flesh things out. And then I ended up getting all the cute little documents and stuff that I was able to put together. So the first thing that I did, and the reason why I don't necessarily like jumping to AI right away, is because a lot of time AI is going to give you a response. But guess what? It's also going to give everybody else the same response. So if we would all type in the same thing, hey, Mr. AI, can you please put in for me give me a presentation outline for a presentation on task delegating. So pretty much come out with the same exact thing. And what we need to start to understand and realize for ourselves is that when we're presenting, we need to bring in our own piece of mind. We need to bring in our own information. We have to make it like personal and make it ours. So the way that I like to do it is I actually like to come in with information first and then feed that to AI and let AI then expound on that, if that makes sense. And the reason why is because then it has my voice more into it. So there's many ways you could do this. You can actually just record yourself talking about all the things you know about task delegations, and then you can just take the text from that talk. You could use Loom for something like that and just put the actual text in AI and say, hey, do you mind making a presentation based on all this information I said? And please fill in the blanks and add in different things that, I might want to add into it. Or what you could do is, what I like doing is I like just taking a piece of paper, and I do this on my phone. This is literally what I started with. And I just started writing down different things about task delegating and all different things that I thought I would want to add into it. I probably only had like 2 bullet points, and then I added in the rest of the bullet points after AI. But the way that I like to structure my speeches is breaking it down into 5 different sections. So I have the intro of just really introducing who I am. I have the actual speech, which breaks down into 5 different topics. And then I have this sort of a recap and then the Q&A at the end. So the way that I can do it is, okay, when it comes to delegating, what are 5 different main categories that we have to talk about? So number 1 is getting clear on terms of like, what is you're speaking about? Another one is making sure that we can communicate properly. Another one is like supporting the people that we're delegating to. So all these different things come up when it comes to delegating. So I thought about, hey, you know what? These are like different things that we can start to put into the presentation. And now let's try to figure out how we could fill up those bullet points. And if we could add in like 3 to 5 bullet points within each of those 5, then we had 25 talking points. And if I could just speak about each one of those for about a minute or minute and a half, that gives you about 50 minutes. And then the beginning and the end of it, and it's like an hour and the thing flies by, which is pretty sweet. And then that doesn't even include people asking questions and whatnot. So it's really, really cool to be able to do that. It's honestly one of the ways that I try helping people write their own books, really just breaking down into smaller steps and smaller and smaller and smaller steps. And then all of a sudden you have like a book that's like 200 pages long, which is pretty sweet. So that was the first thing that I did. And then after I was able to write down all the bullet points that I thought I was necessary, and probably if I would have spent more time on this, I probably could have come out with all of them. But at the end of the day, I do also want to make sure that I'm being, productive with my time. So I was able to take it. Then I started to use this AI bot over here called Cloud at CLAUDE.ai. So Cloud or Claude, I don't know how you pronounce it. And then pretty much what I did with this is that I pretty much told it, hey, I'm giving a talk on the following topic. It needs to be an hour long, and I would like to make it real practical. Can you please help me create the outline to it? I put some bullet points below, but feel free to add in your own ideas that you think will be important. And then I literally just put in my text of everything that I had. And then it just started to like give me the amazing stuff. And then I started to break that down into my own presentation. And another cool thing that I saw is that one of these bullet points that it told me to do, because I asked for practical tips, was to have a checklist. So what I ended up doing, which I thought was like really, really cool, is that I asked it, do you mind making me a general, task delegation checklist. And then it made me this checklist over here that I was able to hand out to everybody at the presentation. So that was actually really cool. And then I just copy and paste this onto a doc, put my logo on it, and said, hey, you know what I put together for you guys. And I would also just go through to make sure it actually like makes sense, because sometimes it might not. So I definitely add your little flavor into it. But then I pretty much just gave that out to everybody and they loved it. So that was actually a pretty cool thing to do. And then I had my whole presentation. So then I started working on all the different stuff that I wanted to put into here. But a lot of times when we're going through slides, it can be very, very boring. So as much questions as I have to ask them and as much engagement I can get them into it, I do like to put in some different, just designs and cutesy things like that. So there's actually this really, really cool website, which I recently was told about, called Napkin.ai. So NAPKIN.ai. And pretty much the way that Napkin.ai works is that you could put something in here. So you just write whatever's that you want. You could actually use AI to write it. So I just wrote the 5 main bullet points that I was using. And then you click on this little blue thing over here, and it's so cool. Really super, super cool. So cool. AI does this nowadays. And then it literally just gives you different types of images that you can start to use for those specific tasks. So that's literally what I did with these. And I did it for each of the 5 different topics, as well as just the beginning topic of me and of these are all the different topics that I spoke about. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Q&A in the beginning. And then this is our lighthouse. So this is one of those images. And then I did it for each of these 5 line items. I did it their own image, just to put in and whatnot. So it was actually really helpful just to give it some more imagery. But it was something that was, I think, super, super easy. The whole thing probably took me like an hour and a half. The presentation took me an hour, and I got paid to do the presentation. So it was actually pretty sweet. Good money for good time. And I was able to help. And now what's really cool about this also is that I've recorded the presentation, and now I can now use this presentation as either another bonus if I want to share with somebody else, or if I want to be able to just, take that recording of that bonus and give it as a freebie or something. Like, I could do so much with this. And I would always say, always, always, always make sure you save your videos, record yourself always save the documents, because you never know when you're going to come back and be like, hey, I can actually use that. I can actually sell that. I've done a bunch of these government presentations before, and I could say, hey, you know what? I spoke to the US government, and I charge a lot of money for speaking to them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give it to you for like only $50. And, you get 10 presentations on leadership, on task delegating, on personal development, on whatever other stuff I spoke about. So give me something that can be really, really beneficial, just to make sure you're keeping it organized, and just something that can be just so helpful. So number 1, make sure to write things down and really just figure out what is your basic outline. Number 2, use AI to help you flesh out the ideas. Once you have AI, you can go to either PowerPoint, or you just go to your Google stuff, and you just pull up the slides, start making the slides based on the points that you've had. And then you could use something like Napkin.ai to just help you give more imagery. You could probably just find other AI apps also as well. But that was something that I thought was really, really cool. So hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And if you have a presentation coming up and you want to get more clarity in terms of how it is you could structure your presentation, how it is that you want to be, just getting things done, make sure to reach out, join the community, because in the community, this is all stuff that we help you with. You'll have a link to it somewhere down below or somewhere. But make sure you take advantage of that, and we'll see you in there. All right, everybody. Peace out.